Hi, and welcome to the Big Bear Homestead. Today, I'm going to show you how to process your wax that you've gotten from your honeybee hives. Now, before we get started, let me just give you a little bit of a background on why I use this method. We've done honeybee harvesting for several years, and a lot of times it's not just as simple as going into a hive and pulling out a frame. Sometimes we've had to go actually into houses, pull hives out of walls, and we've had to harvest the honey and the wax that way. And that was really messy and really frustrating, but we still wanted to be able to use the wax. So we did a little bit of research and found out what's the best way to do that. And what I'm going to show you, this method, is good for all types of harvesting, whether you have a top bar, whether you're just using the wax from capping. That's what we're actually going to be doing today, is just using the wax that we've capped, because we actually take the frames and put them back into the hives. So we're not going to have a whole lot of wax, but the thing is that this wax has still got honey on it. So it's going to be good for all methods of harvesting, whether you're using just a regular frame, you're decapping wax, or you're going to be using like a top bar where you use the entire wax frame. Okay, so for this process you only need a few things. Obviously, the very first thing you need is the wax. The wax we're using, like I told you before, is from the capping that we harvested from our hives when we were getting our honey out of the actual frames. So all of this leftover wax, we're going to use to do this process. All right, so the next thing you're going to need is, I use a metal bowl. It makes it easier for cleanup. Plastic tends to get stained, or you don't get all of the wax because it sticks to the sides. With a metal bowl, you can actually scrape it off with a spatula if you need to. The other thing that I like to use is my capping tool. Because of the system that we have where we drop all of the wax down into it, it's going to be easier for me to scoop up those pieces and put them into the bowl. I also use just a simple butter knife to be able to scrape the wax and be able to get it into the bowl and not have a whole lot of waste. And then the most important tool is going to be your double boiler. Now, a double boiler is simply just a deep pot. Put water in the bottom of it, bring it to a boil, and then this top pot is rounded on the bottom, and it fits down into the other pot, and the boiling water will heat up the bottom surface of that pot so that when you put the wax in, you're not burning the wax or the honey. It just simply melts it and separates it. Okay, so your first step is going to be to collect all of your wax. And all I do is scoop up the wax, put it in the bowl. There's a metal grate on the bottom of this container, so it's allowed most of the honey to filter through. So pretty much all I have now is the wax that is just soaked in the honey that's left over. And that's why this process is so important, is because there's still there's some honey in here, but there's also this wax that can be used. You just have to know how to separate it to be able to clean it and use it. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Okay, so now that you have the wax in your bowl, you can go ahead and reuse that capping tool. And I just pick up a little bit at a time and I put it down into the double boiler. Make sure that that surface is nice and warm at this point, because as that wax goes down into that pot, it's going to melt down pretty quickly. Now I'm not going to put all of this in at one time because I don't have a very big double boiler, but you just want to kind of get the bottom covered and let it kind of melt down. And you can already see the honey is separating from the wax. Okay, now that you have all your wax in your double boiler, you want to stir it just a few times to allow all of the wax to get down onto the hot surface to melt. And then what you'll have is something that looks kind of like a soup. Once it's all been melted down and it's just a solid, it's just a liquid, there's not any solids left except for if there's any debris. Basically what you're going to do is going to look like this. See how it's real thin liquid? But there's debris. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's debris on the bottom of the pan. And what will happen is, now that this is all liquid, we'll turn the burner off and allow it to set. And it will naturally separate the wax. The debris will be caked in. Usually, I think it's the very bottom of it. The debris will come down to the bottom, and also your honey will also seep down into the sides of the pot. Some people will take these and they'll make a cast out of you can get the milk cartons that are still in the cardboard with the wax covering on the side. Some people will take those, put some cheesecloth, pour it in to make kind of like a mold. We don't really need that. We just keep them in patties until it's time for us to melt them down to use them. So all I'm doing right now is rendering the wax so that we'll be able to use it. Now this wax, I'm sure you guys already saw, is a little bit darker. That's because this was rendered from old cappings from a very old couple of frames that we haven't harvested in like 2 years. So obviously the quality of the wax is going to be a little bit darker, and that wax Jason's probably going to use to wax his traps this year. So nothing goes to waste here, whether we use it for lip balm, candles, or even waxing his traps. Thank you for stopping by today. I hope I've taught you just a little bit on how to render this wax. Maybe you knew about it, maybe you didn't. But hopefully today I've showed you just maybe another way to do it. If you want to learn more about what we do here, you can check us out on our website at www.bigbearhomestead.com. You can also check us out on our Patreon page. Go over there and check out our video, and if you can, we'd love for you to help us out. You can also check us out on Facebook. Give us the old like. There's a lot of updates and things that we have going on our farm, so you'll be able to check those out. We also have an Instagram and a Twitter account. We're constantly posting things on there as far as pictures go with the garden and other projects that we have going on. So go ahead and follow us there, and you can see all the different things we have going on. If you liked this video, please like it, share it. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, you can do that as well. If you have any comments or suggestions, go ahead and put it down in the comment section down the bottom of the video. And also, just a quick reminder, tonight we're going to have our essential oils class from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check out, there's also other shows on as well. You can go to www.thehomesteadnetwork.com to check those out. Not only are we on Monday nights, but we'll also be on Saturday as well, along with a whole lot of other great channels that have a lot of great content. So, as always, thank you and have a nice day.